Buddhang 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 Vande Dhammang 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 Vande Sanghang 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 Vande Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Vande. Homage to the Buddha, the supremely enlightened one. Homage to the Dhamma, the teachings of the Blessed One. Homage to the Sangha, the noble disciples of the Exalted One. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Exalted One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Three refuge. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. I go to the Buddha for refuge. I go to the Dhamma for refuge. I go to the Sangha for refuge. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. A second time, I go to the Buddha for refuge. A second time, I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A second time, I go to the Sangha for refuge. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. A third time, I go to the Buddha for refuge. A third time, I go to the Dhamma for refuge. A third time, I go to the Sangha for refuge. 5 precepts, Panchasila. Phanati pata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training role to abstain from taking life. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training role to abstain from stealing. Kāmesu micchācārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training role to abstain from sexual misconduct. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training role to abstain from false speech. Surameraya majjapamadaṭṭhāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. I undertake the training role to abstain from intoxicating drinks and drugs falls in heedlessness. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Samanta cakkavalesu atra gaccantu devatan Saddhammang munirajassa sunanto sagga mokkadam Dhamma savana kalo ayam badanta Dhamma savana kalo ayam badanta Dhamma savana kalo ayam badanta Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Sambha papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampadān Sachinta pariyodapanang etang buddhāna sāsanang. Venerable members of the Mahasangha, friends in Dhamma, today Leicester Buddhist Vihara in UK, you hope to listening to Buddha's message at this moment. First of all, I would like to pay our gratitude to Bhante Sadhananda, who conducted this Dhamma program by the power of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha. May Bhante Sadhananda and the devotees and friends in Dhamma be well, happy and peaceful. Friends in Dhamma, first of all, we are going to practice a meditation technique before starting the Dhamma sermon for our inner peace and mind concentration. Please get ready for meditation for a while. After that, we are going to start our Dhamma sermon and discussion. Okay, be seated comfortably. Relax your body, please. Please be aware of your body posture that you are sitting here. And please keep your attention around the nose or upper lip. Now I am going to practice loving kindness meditation, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings at this home be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this city be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this country be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. May all beings in this entire world be well, happy and peaceful. May they attain the final bliss of liberation. I am friendly with everyone who is in this world. I see it all over the world, like my friends, like my family. When I see a person, when I meet a person, I think everyone is like my only son or daughter. My mind is so pure and calm. Day by day, I increase the practicing of loving kindness meditation for my inner peace. I increase the duration of practicing loving kindness thoughts in my mind for my inner peace, happiness. I contemplate on, thus may all beings be well, happy and peaceful in all the postures that I behave. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable says, Prince in Dhamma, at this moment you hope to listen to Buddha's message, what the Buddha explained. Whenever we listen to the message of the Buddha, it is a very great opportunity to see our life. All the doctrines that Buddha has explained for 45 years can be summarized into one sentence, which is Sajit Paryodapanam, purifying one's mind. Buddha has explained his message for 45 years. All the words that he has preached can be summarized in this very simple sentence, purifying one's mind. Why do we need to purify our mind? The reason is that Everyone likes to be happy. We do everything in the name of happiness. If we are not happy, actually everything that we earned is useless. Ordinary people do a lot of things for their inner peace or happiness. They study, they do jobs, they associate some friends, they do a lot of duties and responsibilities. They do everything in the name of happiness. But unfortunately, day by day, they go away from happiness. What is the reason? Even though they collect something, their mind is not pure. That is the main reason why they are unhappy. In this situation, Buddha has explained very clearly how we develop our inner peace day by day. Our happiness completely depends on purifying our mind. Purifying our mind depends on purifying our mind from negativities, unwholesome mental thoughts. What are the negativities, unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind? All the negativities can be summarized into three. They are greed, anger, and delusion. Greed means attachment, desire, or craving. Anger means ill will or attacking with something or someone. Ignorance means less understanding what happens to the world. Because of these three reasons, our mind becomes polluted. In this situation, we should understand the nature of these three unwholesome mental states. Our mind is the main reason whether we are happy or unhappy. That is why Buddhism says, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma, Mano Setta Manomaya. Mind is the forerunner. Mind is chief. Mind made are they. If someone does something with a wicked mind, impure mind, the results are evil. The evil results follow us because of impurity of our mind. On the other side, if we do something with a pure mind, physically, verbally, or mentally, as the result of purity of our mind, we will have the fruitful results. That is why we should overcome negativities, unwholesome mental states, and practice good deeds as much as we can. When we consider the Buddha's message, there is a very special stanza, Sabba Papa Sakaranam, Kusalasa Upasampada, Sajit Paryodapanam, Etang Buddhana Sasanam. Not to do any evil, practicing good deeds, purifying one's mind. This is the message of all the Buddhas who appear in this world. In this situation, we should understand the nature of our life. Whenever we are unhappy, it means our mind is polluted with negative thoughts such as greed, anger, and delusion. Whenever we are happy, it means our mind is pure and calm. No one likes to be unhappy, suffering. That is why we have to purify our mind. Buddha has explained very clearly how we make pure our mind little by little. Buddha has given a lot of advice. Especially, he explains the way how we gain the right understanding, Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi is the main reason that we are going on the path of liberation. When we meet this Sammaditthi or right understanding, it belongs to the Noble Eightfold Path. We meet the Noble Eightfold Path because of good association, Buddha says, when someone has a good friend, he has a chance to listen into the message of the purification. When we meet a good friend, he explains that the Noble Eightfold Path. The very first one is right understanding, correct vision, Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi can be divided into two. One of them is understanding the karmic law. Karmic law means whatever we do with intention, we will have the same results. As we mentioned before, whenever mind is polluted, the results are evil, then suffering comes to us. Whenever mind is pure and calm, then we receive fruitful results. If someone has this understanding, he doesn't like to be unhappy. He always trains his mind to purify his mind from negative thoughts. Buddha has explained the way how we purify our mind gradually. Here, there are three meritorious deeds that we can practice to purify our mind. The very first step is that practicing generosity. With a pure mind, if we can practice generosity, offering something to others, sharing something with others, this is one of the techniques that we can practice to purify our mind. If we have a generous heart, it means we are happy. He who has a generous heart gains a lot of happiness. Piti mudarang vindati data. On the path of liberation, very primary level qualities that practicing generosity or offering something to others. This is the very first step. We can practice generosity in various ways. Amisadana, Abhedana, Dharmadana. Amisadana means offering material things. Abhedana, giving fearlessness. Dhammadana, giving Dhamma to others. Buddha says, among these three danas or generosities, Dhammadana, gift of Dhamma, excels all other gifts. Sabbadhanam, Dhammadanam, Dinati. This is the way how we can practice generosity. Then little by little we go forward. When we see the results of practicing generosity, we are happy. Our inner peace gradually increases. We go forward on this path. The next step is that practicing virtue or moral conduct, sila. Sila means discipline in our speech and behavior. When we do something, when we speak something, we should think again and again whether it is correct. This is the discipline in our speech and behavior. As the result of practicing this discipline, especially, we follow the 5 precepts. Abstaining from taking life, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, abstaining from false speech, abstaining from intoxicating drinks and drugs causing heedlessness. These are the precepts that we follow for our inner peace. Why do we need to practice this pattern? Actually, when someone can practice these qualities, it means he is very proud of his life. He is confident in his behavior. And also he is respected at home, in the society, in the world. And also he has no regrets because of his correct character. That is why we should follow this morality or virtue. And also, if someone can practice virtue or moral conduct, he can make a lot of friends. Friends are confident in him because of his good character. And also Buddha says, practicing virtue or moral conduct helps us to be happy in this immediate life. We have freedom. We have no fear, no doubt when we behave in the society because of our correct life, moral life. Then little by little we go forward. By practicing generosity, we can purify our mind from greed. If we are greedy, actually we have no inner peace, real happiness. That is why we practice generosity for getting rid of greed. And also, when we practice virtue, we are able to overcome anger or ill will. Buddha says very clearly, if someone can practice 5 precepts, he gives the fearlessness to the world. So, abhayandeti, averandeti, abhyapajandeti. He who practices the 5 precepts, giving fearlessness, loving kindness, and happiness to the world. This is one of the ways that we can practice generosity. And also the third one is mental culture, especially loving kindness meditation. Buddha says, when someone can practice loving kindness meditation, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful again and again. As a result of practicing loving kindness meditation, he can make a very pure mind. He can overcome anger. Anger is one of the main reasons of stress, and also anger disturbs our peace of mind. Whenever we are angry, even though we are well educated, even though we are very rich, although we have a lot of friends and relatives, actually everything that we earned is useless because we have no happiness at the moment whenever we are angry. In this situation, Buddha says, he who wishes to attain the peace of mind should have to practice loving kindness meditation, contemplating on thus, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. He who wishes to attain the peace of mind should have to practice loving kindness meditation. Yantan santam padang abhisamecce sabbe sattha bhavantu sukhitatta. In Karanimetha Sutta, it is explained very clearly. Practicing loving kindness meditation is highly recommended and appreciated in Buddhism. In one side, for our inner peace, on the other side, this is the way how we can develop our spirituality to the maximum level in the mundane level, in the samsaric circle. Among the 3 meritorious deeds, Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. This is the very highest way that we can practice to develop our spirituality and inner peace. When we practice this path, we can see the results. This is the nature of practicing Dhamma. We should understand the qualities of the Dhamma. Dhamma means what the Buddha taught. Buddha explained this message for our inner peace. Dhamma is not a creation of the Buddha. It is a discovery. What is the discovery? Buddha discovered that the nature of our life, the nature of our mind. In one side, he realized that how we succeed our life in the samsaric circle with the understanding of the karmic law by practicing 3 meritorious deeds, Dana, Sila, and Bhavana. The more we practice 3 meritorious deeds, the more we can develop happiness. And also, on this path, we can understand the qualities of the Dhamma. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. Dhamma is well expounded by the Blessed One. How did the Buddha explain Dhamma very well. Adi Kalyanam, Madhya Kalyanam, and Pariyosana Kalyanam. The beginning is excellent, the middle is excellent, and also the end is excellent. What is the beginning? Beginning is virtue. What is the middle? Middle is concentration. And also, what is the end? End is panya or wisdom. In the supramundane level, these are the stages of practicing Dhamma. And also Sanditiko. When we practice Dhamma, we can see the results in this immediate life. That says in Buddhism, Sanditiko. Next one is Akaliko. Akaliko means immediately effective. When we practice 3 meritorious deeds with the understanding of the Karmic Law, we can see the result in this life. Not only that, with the understanding of the dependent origination, if we can see the world as it is by practicing 3 characteristics, anicca, dukkha, anatta, then we are able to see the immediate results. Whenever we are in mindfulness, reflecting on impermanence, at the moment we are able to overcome suffering immediately at the moment. That is the nature of the quality of the Dhamma, Akaliko. Ehipasiko. We can invite anyone to come and see this message because we know the results by practicing Dhamma. When we are continuously in the Dhamma, when we practice Dhamma again and again in our day-to-day life, like breathing in and out, then we can see the immediate results. Then we can invite anyone to come and see this message. And also, Opanayiko, leading onwards. We should see the results by practicing this Dhamma in our own life. And also, the other qualities that Pacchatthang Veditabbo Vinyohiti. This Dhamma is to be realized by the wise, individually, by everyone, by the wise person should practice and gain results by practicing Dhamma. These are the qualities of the Dhamma. When we practice 3 meritorious deeds, we can see the results and we are able to develop our inner peace day by day. Even though we practice merits in our life, still we are in the samsaric circle. Although we have practiced a lot of meritorious deeds, when we have some problems, sufferings, we are unable to overcome those difficulties and suffering, such as the suffering of aging, the suffering of death, the suffering of separation from our beloved ones. These are the things that we are unable to overcome even though we practice meritorious deeds. Buddha says there are 3 reasons that we need to find a spiritual teacher and to practice the Dhamma. There are 3 reasons in this world we are unable to overcome even though we practice meritorious deeds. What they are? Jara, Marana, Jati. Jara means decay or aging. Marana means death or passing away. Jati means rebirth. Even though someone attains enlightenment, he has to face aging and death, but he is able to overcome the suffering of aging, the suffering of death. By practicing Dhamma, even though physically we are going to old age, decay, mentally we are not unhappy. We can overcome suffering of decay, death, and rebirth. Ordinary people completely depends on material things and persons. Their mind is fixed in material world. When those things change, they immediately get suffering. That is the nature of the ordinary people. But the Buddha's followers, as the Buddha's followers, we have a chance to overcome this suffering. How do we overcome this suffering? First of all, we should understand why suffering arises. Whenever we are suffering, it means our mind is fixed in outside material world or persons. For example, when you are angry with someone, you remember something. You remember someone at the moment. When you think that person, you think that is still that person in this world. Actually, this is not correct. Whenever we think something, the previous form has already ceased. Our eye or ear, which happened at the moment, has already ceased. When we think something, actually the forms have already ceased. Our eye has ceased, forms have ceased, ear has ceased, sounds have ceased, nose has ceased, smell has ceased, our tongue has ceased, the taste has ceased. This is the nature of our life. We always recognize something through our mind consciousness. This is the reality. It doesn't mean that there is not a material world. Buddhism doesn't say that there is not a material world. Actually, there is a material world which consists with four fundamental elements. Earth element, water element, fire element, and air element. There are some fundamental elements in this world. We can contact them through our senses, through our five senses. But in the primary experience, we have only the primary understanding. We are unable to recognize something completely in the first experience. In the very first experience, we have only the very primary understanding. That is just a karma vipaka, the result of our actions in previous lives. The very first experience arising of the five aggregates at the present moment. It is very instant and it is neither pleasant nor unpleasant. It is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. Buddha says the very first experience is very pure. And also the next experience creates suffering or happiness. When we see something, when we hear something, suddenly the very first experience as the result of our previous experience, karma, five aggregates arise at the moment, they immediately cease. But the very important thing that we should understand throughout listening to Dhamma, what the Buddha taught, Buddha says very clearly, na panchahi vinyanehi kenachi dhamma pativijanati. By five consciousnesses, we are unable to recognize something. Anyatra abhinipatamatta, just contact the forms of the world. In this situation, Buddha says, Sabbe Dhamma Mano Vijnana Dhatuya Vinaya. We recognize all the things by mind consciousness. The interesting thing is that when we understand something through our mind consciousness, our five senses, five external objects have already ceased. This is the very valuable thing that we have to listen to through the Buddha's message. When we have this understanding, if we can practice mindfulness, if we are aware of our body and mind, when we look at something, if we are able to understand, now the forms have ceased, I recognize this something through my mind consciousness, then we can see the cessation of suffering. Whenever we are ignorant and unmindful, when we look at something, suddenly our mind is fixed in outside world. It means we are not away from suffering. Whenever our mind is fixed in outside material worlds and persons, it means when they change, we get suffering. Then we have the suffering of decay, the suffering of death, the suffering of sickness, and also it causes us to go to the world again. When our mind is polluted with this misunderstanding, we have to sometimes fall into hell because of this misunderstanding and attachment or detachment or anger. Whenever we can understand this reality by practicing mindfulness, we are able to overcome suffering. We see the arising and ceasing of our mind and mind consciousness. In the primary level, Buddha explained the way how we overcome suffering in the mundane level. Mundane level means still we have ignorance. We believe a world, but we are able to overcome falling our mind into material world. How do we do it? When someone can practice a concentration meditation, there are 40 meditation techniques in Buddhism that help us to concentrate our mind, such as loving kindness meditation, breathing meditation, contemplation of the qualities of the Buddha, contemplation of the qualities of the Dhamma, contemplating on four fundamental elements. These are the concentration meditation techniques that we can practice to overcome the material world. Whenever our mind gains concentration, at the moment, outside persons and things are unable to disturb our peace of mind because we depend on our mind. When we practice loving kindness meditation or breathing meditation or any other concentration meditation technique, at the moment we depend on inside. We depend on our mind because our mind is very pure. Our mind has no anger, no lust at the moment. By practicing concentration meditation techniques, we are able to purify our mind from hindrances. Hindrances means sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, and skeptical doubts. These are the primary level negativities or hindrances that disturb our peace of mind. Whenever our mind gains concentration, actually these 5 hindrances are unable to disturb our peace of mind. Because at the moment our mind is not fixed in outside material world. This is the way how we can make pure and calm our mind by practicing concentration meditation techniques. Not only that, we have to overcome negativities, especially the unwholesome mental roots completely. For that, we should have a clear understanding about the world, how suffering arises and how does suffering cease. Here, understanding of the dependent origination of Patissampada is very important. we can understand what happens to our world, what happens to our life. When we experience something, very first experience is that arising of the five aggregates. That is neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That is just a result. When we are ignorant this situation, then we go to the world, we are in the samsaric circle, then avidya pacha sankhara, because of ignorance, mental formations arise. Sankhara pacha vijnanam, because of mental formations, consciousness with ignorance arises. Like that, little by little we go forward on the samsaric circle. We are in the samsaric journey as the result of ignorance. Finally, we end this circle with decay, sorrow, lamentation, like that. If we are ignorant, we are in the samsaric circle, it means we have to get suffering when the outside world change. If someone can understand this reality, if he can reflect on this reality, then he go to the highest level, in the supramundane level, practicing vidarsana bhavana, vipassana bhavana, or insight meditation. What is the insight meditation? Insight means reflecting on inside our mind and mental formations. How do we practice insight meditation or vidarsana bhavana? We reflect on five aggregates. Five aggregates means the very first experience. Buddha says the very first experience is the noble truth of suffering. We have to realize the first experience. Dukkha satyam parinyayam. The noble truth of suffering should be realized. How do we realize it? We contemplate on that Rupa, Rupang Anicham, form is impermanent. Vedana Anicham, feeling is impermanent. And Sanya, perception is impermanent. Sankhara, mental formations are impermanent. Vijnanam Anicham, consciousness is impermanent. What is the meaning of impermanence? Impermanence is not just changing, but it means in Buddhism, arising and ceasing of in the present moment. With the conditions, these five aggregates arise when reasons, causes cease, the results are also cease. Ahutva sambhutang hutva anubhavisati. Not be occurred comes to occurrence, being occurred will not go to occurrence. This is the nature of the five aggregates. When we recognize these five aggregates, then we can go to the next level, dukkha nirodha. We are in the corner of the cessation of suffering. Whenever we reflect on impermanence of five aggregates, we don't find a world in outside. We understand that at the moment the world has ceased. I recognize something through my mind consciousness. That mind consciousness is also dissatisfactory, impermanence, and selfless. That is not mine, that is not me, that is not myself. Netan mama, ne sohamasmi, name soatta. This is the understanding of the Patisampada or the dependent origination. If we can understand this reality, we find the path which is the Noble Eightfold Path. When we have samadhi or correct understanding, little by little we go forward on this path that leads to getting rid of suffering. Samma sankappa, right intention. Samma vacha, right speech, Samma Kammanta, right action, Samma Ajiva, right livelihood, Samma Vayama, right effort, Samma Sati, right mindfulness, and Samma Samadhi, right concentration. You know, dear friends in Dhamma, as the result of having correct vision, Samma Ditti, we meet this path. This is the fearless path. This is the direct path for the liberation or emancipation. If we have a confidence that now I am on this path, we have no problems in this world. Day by day we go forward. We do everything concerning this path. When we speak something, we have the intention that whether my speech is correct or not. When we do something, we understand that whether my actions are correct or not. When we do a job, we understand that whether my livelihood is correct or not. Samma ajivo micha ajiva. When we have an effort, we suddenly understand that whether my effort is correct or not. We do everything contemplating on these 8 steps of the Noble Eightfold Path. You know, in every day, if we can think these eightfold paths, it means we have correct understanding, correct vision, samadhi. When we have samadhi, we don't like to get suffering. When our mind is fixed in outside, we have to get suffering. We don't like to become that situation. We always trained our mind to overcome this misunderstanding, ignorance or delusion. We always reflect on impermanence, arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates, or arising and ceasing of our body and mind. Whenever we reflect on this reality, gradually we are able to overcome ignorance. The more we overcome ignorance, the more we are able to overcome greed and anger, or attachment or detachment. Then we can see the beauty of our life. We can see the beauty of our mind. The reason is that day by day we purify our mind from negativities. Then we can see the results. What are the results? Day by day, when we overcome lust, greed, anger, and delusion, we have confidence that I have a mind that no one can disturb. Buddha says the measurement of our spiritual life. When we go forward on this path correctly and honestly, wisely and mindfully, Buddha says, Susukang vata jivama verinesu averino, verinesu manusesu viharama averino. Let's live happily without anger among the people, those who are angry. This is the measurement that we are successful. When someone blames you, if you have a mind that that person doesn't make you angry, that is your success. Again, Buddha says, Susukangmata jivama aturesu anatura, aturesu manusyesu viharama anatura. Let's live happily without mental illnesses among the people, those who are mentally ill. Usually people consider the physical illnesses, but the main reason why we suffer is that mental illnesses. What are the mental illnesses? Jealousy, lust, conceit, anger, ill will, greed, ignorance. These are the negativities. These are the mental illnesses that disturb our peace of mind. If we can make a mind that those negativities are unable to disturb our peace of mind, this is the real success in our life. This is the measurement that we can check. We are successful on this path. Again, Buddha says, Susukang vata jivama yesanno natti kinchanam pitibakha bhavisama deva abasarayata. Let's live without any slight, unwholesome mental state, like a radiant being among the people, those who have defilements. If we can keep our mind in pure and calm by practicing mindfulness and insight meditation, this is the way how we can make a mind that outside persons are unable to disturb. On this path, little by little, we can go forward. First of all, we should understand the importance of our mind, mental situation. Mind is the forerunner, mind is chief, mind made day. If someone does something with a wicked mind, physically, verbally, or mentally, then results are evil. That evil results follow us. We don't like to become that situation. In that situation, we always make our mind in pure and calm. Then results are fruitful because of our purification of mind. Mind is pure, our actions and words are correct, then results are fruitful. We always increase the duration of keeping our mind in pure and calm. For that, in one side, we have to listen to Dhamma again and again. Buddha says there are 4 factors that help us to go forward on this path from beginning to end. There are 4 things which are associating good friends, listening to Dhamma, wise consideration, and practice. What is the practice? In short, practice is that Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Virtue, concentration, and wisdom. In very short, Buddha says, as a wise person, the highest qualities that he can practice with his supramundane knowledge is that concentration and wisdom, samatha and vipassana. If we are really educated, according to Buddhism, the duration of practice in concentration and insight meditation should increase day by day. The real measurement that we are successful is our happiness. Our happiness depends on the duration of practice in concentration and insight meditation. In one side, we should practice a meditation techniques such as loving kindness meditation, like that. On the other side, we should contemplate on insight meditation or reflecting on impermanence, dissatisfactory, and selfless. As the result of practicing this path, we have a confidence in what we practice, the Dhamma, what the Buddha taught. Buddha explained the path, the pure path, the fearless path, direct path for the liberation, for our inner peace. With the understanding of the Karmic Law, in one side we have to practice 3 meritorious deeds, Dana, Sila and Bhavana. On the other side, with the understanding of the dependent origination or the Patisampada, we should reflect on three characteristics which are impermanence, dissatisfactory, and selflessness or wisdom. This is the path that Buddha has explained for 45 years. We are so fortunate. We have a blissful message, sublime message. As Buddhist listeners, we know the path, how we overcome suffering. The ordinary people, they follow a lot of things for their inner peace. Finally, the only thing that they couldn't reach, that is happiness. The reason is that they always find happiness in outside, collecting some material things and making some friends and relatives. Even though we are confident in outside, one day we have to leave them. Even we are confident in our physical body. This physical body also little by little going to old age. We have to face the sicknesses. This body is subject to decay, subject to diseases, subject to death. In this situation, we cannot be confident in even our physical body. We should be completely confident in the mind, practicing Dhamma, practicing mindfulness. This is the path that Buddha has explained. Here, mindfulness plays a very big role. Buddha says practicing mindfulness is the only way for the getting rid of suffering. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for the overcoming of sorrow and lamentation. Practicing mindfulness is the only way for purification of beings, sattana visuddhya. Therefore, we should pay our attention to practice mindfulness in our day-to-day life, but before we practice mindfulness, we have a clear understanding how suffering arises, how suffering ceases. Whenever we are ignorant about the world, suffering arises. Whenever we are wise and mindfulness, suffering gradually ceases. We can understand and we can decide whether we are going on the path of suffering or the path of liberation. Whenever we are ignorant, making a physical world outside, it means we are on the path of suffering. Whenever we don't create the physical world ignorantly, it means we are on the path of liberation, happiness, emancipation. For that, I wish you all the best by the power of listening to Dhamma and practicing Dhamma. May your spiritual way, spiritual activities be clear, and also may you have a chance to practice this message in this immediate life and get the results in this immediate life. With that intention, I bless you. I wish you, may all beings, may all of you be well, happy, healthy, and peaceful. Okay, dear friends, I appreciate Bhante Sadhananda conducting this Dhamma sermon, and also we wish you all the best. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu.
If you have any question, you can ask. Dear friends in Dhamma, if you have any Dhamma question, you can ask. In this discussion, we explain the Buddha's message in short. First of all, we explain the importance of our mind, and also we explain the three advice given by the Buddha: not to do evil, practicing good deeds, and purifying one's mind. And also we explain the very primary step of the Samadhi, the first stage of Samadhi. With the understanding of the Karmic Law, if we can practice 3 meritorious deeds, Dana, Sila, Bhavana, we can make very good environment. We can develop our happiness. Even though we practice 3 meritorious deeds, there are some challenges which we are unable to overcome. The suffering of decay, the suffering of death, and the suffering of rebirth. Therefore, we need another path, another stage of the path. Then we discuss the dependent origination, arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates or suffering. With this understanding, when we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, in short, the 3 disciplines, then day by day we can go forward, purifying our mind from greed, anger, and delusion. Finally, if we can live with mindfulness and wisdom, contemplating on impermanence, then we are able to overcome ignorance or delusion. As the result of practicing this path, reducing ignorance, we are able to overcome greed and anger from our mind. For that, let's try to practice this path, and also we have received a very valuable life because we have a chance to listen to Buddha's message, how we can purify our mind and how we can develop our mind to the maximum level by practicing this path. Finally, we have to practice only one thing, mindfulness. Being aware of our body and mind, reflecting on impermanence. This is the only thing that we can do as the final practice, mindfulness. Okay, dear friends in Dhamma, by the power of all these meritorious deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. By the power of all these spirituality, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantaca niddukkha, bhayam pantaca nidbhayam, sokam pantaca nissokam, hontu sabbe pipanino. May the triple gem bless you.